It's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
So he says to his buddy, just take the picture. I didn't kill the bear. Just take the photo. It'll be funny. Oh, hello and welcome, everybody. Welcome to Tuesday. Gary, how are you?
Well, we'll call this show the Easy Money Show. I was reading the Wall Street Journal lead editorial. Financial markets reprice risk after extended cheap money experiment. They go talking about what happened in Japan, mm-hmm. and the fact that they eased their quantitative. They tightened their quantitative easing last week and then increased interest rates 2.5%. They also talked about the fact that because the yen was so low.
Yeah.
And now with the yen stabilizing from them doing it, they're saying that Japanese investors may pull out of buying American Treasury bills. Which will then raise the cost of Treasury bills again.
Yeah.
The cost of Treasury bills went down, as we know, because people were looking for another outlet, to get into. So, again, simple supply and demand figures that the interest rate on Treasury bills would come down slightly, as did happen. I haven't seen I saw that the markets were rebounding a little bit. I saw the Dow Jones futures was 300-something, but that was an hour ago. It could be completely different by now.
Well, one thing, if you're watching the Nikkei, it's up 8.2%. So it's actually
I saw that.
A pretty decent rebound. We'll see where it goes. I have, let's see here, looking at the pre-markets. Dow futures up and NASDAQ futures up. So.
What are Dow futures up?
Right now, 342 and NASDAQ up 311.
Okay.
So if they can have a good day and get a pretty good chunk of what they lost back, we'll see.
I know there's still a lot because they've 1,600 in the last 2 days. Mm-hmm. Over 1,600 they lost.
Yep.
So
yep.
Up 300 still is it's back a little bit, but there's still problems there.
Sure. Yeah, we'll see what it would definitely have to keep going throughout the trading day, and we'll see if that happens. But the sentiment is certainly, at least, they're hitting the pause button for now, and it could just be buying opportunity right now for a ton of people. Hey, this is my chance to get in. The hit that Apple stock took yesterday. For a lot of people, they see that as a long-term stock, and it is. Likely. I mean, I'm not an expert, but I don't know anybody saying it's not. I think some of the tech stocks with the court decision on Google coming down yesterday, I think some of the investors are nervous about the tech stocks because governments across the world now are coming in and looking to break up these tech companies. And I think that's going to be a concern. That's something you and I have talked about for years. How far they go with it here in the U.S., we'll see. But I think that's, one of the concerns. So, look, the jokes were, I don't know if they were funny or not. I saw the one saying today's markets, and it was a clip of Chris Farley falling down that hill. Was that Tommy Boy?
I don't know. There
Black
was
Sheep.
There was Tommy Boy, then Black Sheep. Right
I can't remember which one that was from, but I laughed so hard at the end when he stood up. What the hell was that? But it's the reality is that there's no doubt it's going to be a buying opportunity for a lot of people. Just depends on, again, if you want to reach out and catch a falling knife. And yesterday, the answer to that seemed to be no. So we'll see what today brings. But, It's also, I think, the unemployment. You look at the unemployment situation, you combine it with everything else. It really is reality. I know that's what fundamentals means when they talk about it in the investment world, but these are the fundamentals for everybody right now. You saw more and more stories. Fox Business had one. One of the mainstream media had a story about parents struggling. The survey that came out.
Oh yeah, for school. We talked
back
about
to
that.
school.
What, last week? I believe we started talking about that.
And more and more surveys showing. And it was roughly 30%, maybe a little bit more.
Mm-hmm. I think
that
it was
can't afford.
Yeah.
That can't afford it at all, and don't know how they're going to do it. Others were saying, well, we have to cut back on groceries or other bills. And that's the reality for people. These are, again, it goes beyond fundamentals. We're in a point of being families with their spending power being underwater and have been for quite a while with inflation. It's not getting any better. Prices are still going up. And that is something that is, again, when it comes to something like this, a necessity, you really don't, you don't have anywhere to turn. And that's going to be a problem. I don't know what August looks like, but from that information, it promises to be pretty bleak.
Reading here from the Wall Street Journal, it isn't obvious what economic boost rate cuts would offer since the market is already anticipating them and has eased financial conditions. A 50 basis point emergency cut, as some are calling for, would look panicky and might spur more selling. The clamor for the Fed to save the day reflects that it's the only game in town. Now, this was tough for me to read. Mm-hmm. The clamor for the Fed to save the day reflects that it's the only game in town. Congress is gridlocked on economic policy except for more spending and bad tax and trade ideas. Since the 2008 financial panic, the U.S. economy has been sustained for the most part by government spending and cheap money aimed at supporting consumers and asset prices. But cheap money is never free, and it can't last forever. It builds distortions and excesses that are unsustainable and must eventually be addressed. That's what the Fed had to do by raising rates to arrest inflation, and part of that bill is now coming due. Government spending is also restrained by rising debt. Even as low-income consumers have spent down their pandemic savings, the current economic slowdown is one result. The market sell-off doesn't look like a repeat of 2008, but it is a warning about growth as the Fed takes the political heat. We hope it keeps its focus on the real economy and the real income of workers, not on asset prices, to please the clamor on Wall Street. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's the entire thing. I mean, when you look at it, this is where I'm without a party right now. I'm without a political party when it comes to economics. What you hear coming from, of course, the Biden administration is massive government spending. They wish to kill manufacturing. That's what they wish to do because of climate change. By the way, Alan handed me a story. I said, that climate change, the radical climate change group say Kamala's all aboard. So her saying that, her campaign saying she's no longer she's for fracking doesn't mean anything. They know it. Yeah. They know she's lying. Everybody knows that she is that she's lying. But when you look at the Democrats, they don't want a private sector economy to go. Their view of a private economy is government subsidies, your taxpayer dollars, for the most part going to the well-off so they can buy their nice second vehicle electric cars. Mm-hmm. And automobile companies are forced to sell a product that they can't make a profit on, even with the subsidies. And then the unions are now going, for years have been saying, earlier this year when the unions were saying, we need some of the taxpayer dollars. If you're going to subsidize the oil companies, if you're going to subsidize the automobile companies, you got to subsidize the unions too. Yeah. And it's like, okay, let's not focus on the incentives to produce goods, legitimate goods and services to make a legit profit. Let the government, and remember, that's what the Green New Deal was about, government taking over the economy, in essence. And so that's where they're headed there. But then I look at the Republicans, and all you hear it from Vance, you hear it from Hawley, you hear it from Trump, tariff, 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 tariff. Everybody believes that the government can manipulate the economy in their own particular way. Republicans are heading that way, as we call it, the populist economy, which is, they sell it through patriotism. America, America, America. Keep all the jobs here. Keep all the jobs here. How do you do that?
Well,
that's the question. It sounds great. How do you do it?
It's never been effective except for as a slogan in modern days. It isn't. In fact, those tariffs always have to be reversed. When you look at the big tariff moves since 2000, they had to be reversed because of the impact, because of the negative impact. And there's no way around that. You want to tank the economy.
Well, the Trump tariffs the Biden administration kept, so they haven't gone.
Yeah,
yet.
some of them.
Yeah, some of them. But the big
steel
tariffs with
is what I was
Bush
referring to.
had to be reversed.
Right. And you can't sustain that.
Right. And again, that's about Republicans used to be furious. Remember the saying, stop picking the winners and losers? That's what tariffs do. It picks the winners and losers. So Republicans' major proclamation, economically speaking. Now, by the way, just so you know, the far left agrees with the far left socialists agree with Trump and Vance and Hawley when it comes to and who else is talking about tariffs? I'm trying to think.
I don't know, but you just said it.
The far left agrees. The very far socialist left agrees with the Trump economic policy that he is promoting, that he promoted last time, but did not fully go through with it. Instead, backed off majorly, but he's back off promoting the same thing
you just said
he backed off from.
The Biden administration kept the Trump tariffs that remained in place when Trump was leaving office. Biden kept.
Yeah.
What does that tell you?
Yeah. And
tell me what Biden did in reverse of Trump's that he could. Tariffs.
Yeah.
That's your answer. And if you want to throw the economy in order to appease the populist and go for it, the effect will last about as long as the applause, which is about 10 seconds.
Now, I want Trump to win, but as I said, this is an election about government authoritarianism that the Democrats are attempting to throw at Trump, but actually has, as we all know, whether it's the Twitter files. Look, don't ask me. Ask the Democrats that have said ask the Jonathan Turleys, ask the Matt Taibbi's, ask the Michael Schellenbergers, ask the Barry Weisses out there that were loyal Democrats, ask Dershowitz, who could not be more liberal. I'm thinking about when I first got into talk radio and how liberal we all viewed Dershowitz, for example, how incredibly radical left that he was at that time. Understand that the Democratic Party is to the left of that. Mm-hmm. But to the left of that, where you're talking authoritarianism and and you can look at it through Biden's executive orders that have been found unconstitutional, and Biden saying, then the cut from Raskin. You saw the cut from Raskin yesterday, right? Mm-hmm. We'll play that coming up. Mm-hmm. And so this, to me, is about saving the Constitution and not becoming a banana republic. The economic things I have to set aside that I disagree with the Republicans and with Trump and Vance and Hawley and all them, because they're just looking at it and saying we can manipulate an economy in a better way than the Democrats can. And our viewpoint on red ice, but no, neither of you can.
Well, that's it. I mean, the government has to get out of the way. And in one conversation, you'll see Republicans talking about less regulation. Well, tell me about and when it comes to managed free trade and tariffs and everything else. That's the government. That's even worse than regulation.
Yeah. And people understand now. I mean, we used to get pushback on it, and then when people understood, to go, wait a minute. Okay, all right, we're going to protect the steel industry, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, it's great. Well, we're protecting the steel industry. Yeah, but every American company now that has to buy steel, the cost has gone up.
Yep.
And then
everything you buy, the cost is going to go up.
And then the job losses come in there.
Yep.
They save, so tariffs simply pick the winners and losers in industry.
Right.
But again, this is a thing where people don't like to get in to the actual minutia of it.
Well, they don't like to think it through. They go to the store and they blame the retailer. They blame the manufacturer.
Yeah.
They blame everybody else.
But,
and look, it's, you want to get into that game, then great. It's going to get very, very expensive before we're done.
Coming up next, though, we have a big announcement.
We do.
We have a big announcement.
Yes, we do.
I mean, super big announcement.
It's huge.
Yeah, I'm telling you, is it ever huge?
Mm-hmm.
866-90-RED-I.
This report is brought to you by Shell Rotella. With advanced synthetic technology, is designed to help keep your rig running with more mileage and less maintenance. Keep your engine humming in the heat this summer by keeping up with preventive maintenance. Think your PM is complete after your oil is changed? Think again. There's grease, transmission fluids, and gear oil to consider too. Clean gear oil, for example, extends gear, bearing, and seal life. It also protects against low speed, high torque wear, and high speed scoring. That means not only longer equipment life and reduced maintenance costs, but also improved fuel economy and lower operating costs. So the next time you plan for your oil change purchase, don't neglect lubrication and inspection, especially on components and parts that work hard to keep your vehicle running safe and smooth.
Coming up, more with Gary McNamara and Eric Harley. It's Red Eye Radio.
It's Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Well, Kamala Harris, officially now the nominee for the Democratic Party, and she did have a message for all Americans.
We have to stay woke. Like, everybody needs to be woke. And you can talk about if you're the wokest or woker, but just stay more woke than less woke. Yeah.
The other two on that panel looking at her with, There's one lady to the right of her going, And she just has a very serious look on her face. And Kamala's laughing, doing the cackling thing. It's like, where are you going with this? Wow. That clip got so much play yesterday. Unbelievable. As it should. For anybody not paying attention. For all of us paying attention, we look at it and go, wow, man, I saw that clip a million times. But there are a lot of people that are seeing that going, oh, wow, is that who she is? We talked about it yesterday. There are plenty of people not paying attention. And now they're paying attention. And I'm with you. I think we should do a man on the street interview. What job does Kamala Harris hold right now?
Yeah.
What job does Kamala Harris hold currently at the moment?
No, and because I don't think that if you listen to talk radio, you know a lot about politics. You're paying attention.
Yeah.
But you probably do know people that have no idea what's going on at all. They really don't pay attention at all.
Right.
They hear a few things. They may watch 5 minutes of the nightly news, but they really don't know what's going on.
Right. I know that sounds foreign to our audience, but it's true. You and I have been doing this a long time. It's true.
Get our Red Eye Radio app in your app store. Then listen at your convenience. Red Eye Radio.
And he is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. Thanks so much for being here this morning. You know what's interesting is Kamala Harris is the Democrat nominee. And think about this. This is the United States of America, all right? 2024. We have access to information quicker than ever before. You know, technology has made it where we want to know something, we can know it within a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
Think about that when we were growing up. I could still, okay. The encyclopedia that mom and dad has is 2 years old.
Yeah.
Oh, man, this is useless.
Yeah.
Remember the encyclopedia salespeople coming to your door?
Yeah.
Would you like to buy? Do you remember when this has to be probably, it was 2000, 2001. I remember when I got my new laptop, and remember there was, because Google was not yet what it is today. You know, Google or, just everybody having a website. But remember there was the encyclopedia you could buy for your internet?
Oh, yeah.
You could buy an encyclopedia, but, and I remember I had it for a couple of years.
It came on a CD-ROM.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Came in a CD-ROM, and I had it, and then you get updates.
Right.
You update it every week. It would update.
Right.
And I had that on my laptop. I don't even know where that laptop is, but I had that laptop probably about 6, 7, 8 years before I went to a new one. And then the next one, it was like, okay, you were able to get information. Everybody were starting to get websites, and you could find the information that way. But my point is, does anybody know what Kamala Harris, if you ask Kamala Harris, how does an economy run? Think about this. Nobody knows what she thinks. You know more about what Eric and I think than you do what the Democratic nominee for president actually thinks.
Mm-hmm.
You have no idea. And this isn't even about the fact that she hasn't done an interview, because you still would have known if she had done an interview. But think about this. We have somebody up there, and that's why you've got a significant portion of people saying, well, she's just a figurehead. And they look at Biden and say, Biden wasn't running things.
Yeah.
And I was, Tulsi Gabbard was saying, that, the people that are, running the country, the Clintons, the Obamas, I don't necessarily agree with that, because there's no evidence of that it is that the Obamas are running I don't know why people stick with that, because as we know, there's hatred between those two families.
Yeah.
The last thing that they would want is the Biden is Obama. I think it's more of their aides around them that are actually running things.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
And so I don't know why they keep that up. It's like finally with Kamala in there, as we had said all along, because I can't tell you how many, I don't know, over the year, I'm probably over 1,000 people saying, you guys don't understand. It's going to be Michelle Obama. It's not going to be Michelle Obama. We said that from day one.
There's no way to leapfrog over Kamala Harris, and that was reality, and here we are.
And can I say that I want to? I normally don't do this, but I have to do it. We were right.
Yeah. Yeah.
I normally don't do that, but there were so many people with this incredible arrogance and cockiness that they knew it's going to be Michelle Obama, and we said, you're not even paying damn attention. You don't even know about the Obamas. You don't even know that Obama hated being president of the United States. He didn't
like the gig, and she didn't like it.
She didn't like it.
She liked it even less than he did.
Right.
And we've gone through this unicorn phase every election cycle. Every election cycle we go through. In fact, this year, multiple unicorn phases. Well, this is what's going to happen, or conspiracy theories, or whatever it is, however you want to phrase it. It's always, well, this is going to happen. That's going to happen. You can't leapfrog over Kamala Harris. You can't do that.
But when you think,
unless she came in and stood down, and you have to convince her that she's not ready to be president, and she has to get up and tell people she's not ready or doesn't want to be president after Biden steps down. That wasn't going to happen.
Yeah, I thought that if Biden had stepped down 4 or 5 months ago, there might have been at that point a primary. But
there could have been a challenge.
There might have been a challenge at that
with more
point.
time. Yeah,
But with when it was done, at that point we said no, that's not going to happen. Once he resigned, we said okay, no, or not resigned. Once he said he wasn't going to run, we said okay, it's her.
Yeah,
Nobody else is going to replace. And
Right.
and the only way it would be is if you had a massive drop from Biden's numbers already, and that didn't happen in the in the polling.
right.
And so, but think about it. You have no idea. You know what Biden thinks, and you can look back at what she has said. But seriously, on how things run, because she may have certain positions, but you don't know how or why she got to it. Think about how little you know about her.
Yeah.
And she's a Democratic nominee without one vote.
Yep.
And I saw this, was it lunch yesterday? Or somebody else who said it. They said, Republicans keep harping on the undemocratic thing, and his point was Democrats don't care.
No, they don't.
And we had
care.
said this.
No,
Democrats don't care if democracy is followed. Democrats aren't upset. If you tried that in the Republican Party, what they tried there,
oh my gosh,
that would be absolute outrage if you did that.
Oh, it would still be a massive fire.
And the other thing I did notice yesterday, I don't know why it was yesterday, but and I saw it more on LinkedIn. Oh man, the trolls are all over there, the leftist trolls.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're on LinkedIn now. I'm like, whoa, because it was, and they're trolls because every single comment, I on a couple of posts that were on there, every single one was absolutely pro Kamala with all generalizations and no specifics whatsoever.
Yeah,
and
right.
no other comments did I see that came from, and you see this all the time. If it's not a troll, you see somebody who and they post something political, the vast majority of it is conservative.
Yeah,
on
right,
LinkedIn
right,
that comes
right.
hitting. And if they're not if they use pronouns.
Yeah.
That's how
right.
you actually know.
Yeah.
It's okay, there's a liberal there. They're using the pronouns because no conservative uses a pronoun.
Right.
It's stupid.
Mm-hmm.
It's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
And, which is why liberals use it. And but I find it amazing that we're in now. Most people know how Trump thinks. I think he's been vetted as a candidate because as a business person he was vetted since the 80s. You've been vetting. Think about this. We've been vetting Trump for 40 years.
Yeah.
But think about it. You have no idea what she really thinks. You hear the positions, and you know that every major position that the public doesn't agree with, she's now reversed in the last 2 weeks. Does any Democrat really believe it? No. In fact, the climate change activists, I'll get to this story here in a little bit. Ellen gave it to me a little while ago, which says, oh, no, she's our person, climate change, because they know she's lying. Think about this.
They're okay with the lie. We said that, by the way.
Yeah.
We've been saying that and telling our audience that we've experienced that over the years multiple times. Even Democrats calling back during the Obama years saying, we're okay with him lying because it gets us to the end. It doesn't matter. It gets us to our goal.
But it's an amazing time in American history, and I wonder if, it will be viewed this way 100 years from now. You have one party, the Democratic Party, that lies consistently about what they believe on the major issues.
Yeah.
We've seen it.
Yep.
And you've seen it now with her reversing. They would take the positions but then lie about the positions as we know. For example, the border is secure when we all know that it was not secure. We know everything on inflation. But you think about the gaslighting that's been done on the Republican side. You may disagree with where the Republicans stand, but you know exactly what the Republicans stand for.
Yep.
The Republicans aren't reversing positions 100%.
And
180 degrees.
You know that the vast majority of them, if not all of them, want the same thing in the end,
right?
And may have a debate about how to get there. Well, what do you see on the left? When do they actually talk economics?
They don't.
No. What is she doing now? Oh, no, I'm okay. I'm okay with fracking. No, I'm okay with this. I'm okay with that. And then she's just checking the boxes.
Right. Now, she's not saying it. Her campaign, does that give her plausible deniability later on down the I can't believe I didn't say that to you. I thought about that the other day, and I never said it on the air until now. I
No,
went,
because I almost
wow.
said, "Well, her campaign is her." Oh, wait a minute. No, I didn't. I never said
You're
that.
right.
I can see
the
her.
first thing I thought.
Say, I never said that.
First thing I thought of is when she gets the interview, she goes, I never said that. Well, your campaign. Well, the campaign doesn't speak for me, and she can get away with that.
Well, no,
Democrat, the campaign doesn't speak for me. I speak for me.
If she has a campaign spokesperson, which she does, well, my spokesperson doesn't speak for me. They speak for my campaign. That's not me. Oh my gosh, that's right out of the liberal playbook of 2024.
It's you saw it with Karine Jean-Pierre with the Hatch Act all the time.
Right.
Well, when it's convenient, I'll use the Hatch Act. When it's not, well, deal with the campaign because we're. What do you think it was? Yesterday. I was thinking yesterday. Is it the reverse Hatch Act? I still don't have it fully in my mind because Kamala Harris talking about in the serious voice. You saw that.
Yeah.
She was with the Security Council and didn't take it. But that was political. Mm-hmm. That would have never happened if she wasn't running for office.
Right.
And immediately I went. So all these things I sit and think in my mind what they've gotten away with so far and going, well, what would they get away with again? And I'm thinking, okay, Kamala Harris's campaign and campaign spokespeople are saying this. She said nothing. So when somebody directly asked her this, for example, are you really pro-fracking? Well, no. Where'd you get that idea? Your campaign said it. Well, that was a campaign person. They don't speak for me.
Right.
But it was your spokesperson who said it. Well, they don't speak for me. And Democrats can get away with it because nobody will question, well, wait a minute, then why do you have a campaign if it doesn't represent you?
Right.
So don't be surprised if that happens.
Yeah, no, I fully put that as not just a possibility, a strong possibility.
Yeah, I know. It's like with the gaslighting they've done, why not do that?
Right. Well, no, I mean, that may be the brilliance of don't let her speak on anything. You give her plausible deniability on everything.
Yeah,
I never said
a
that.
word. Right.
I never said that. I never said that.
Who said that?
Yeah, I didn't say it.
Do you know your campaign? Who was the name of the person? We don't know. It was your campaign spokesperson?
Yeah, well, I
you
didn't
can't
say
tell
it.
me who it was.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know what they were referencing, but in referencing here, I'm for fracking only if there are no consequences to fracking.
But first, she would pause and also say that's disrespectful that you don't know who you heard it from. That's disrespectful to the person who said it.
Oh, yes, exactly, right.
Which is right out of Karine Jean-Pierre's playbook.
Right, you deflect.
Yeah,
you deflect
exactly.
onto something else.
You create so many little landmines along the way that that's how you're going to operate. This is how they operate now. It's madness. It is madness. And the lies are hard to tolerate. For me, especially this week, because this past weekend, my band Aerosmith decided that we were no longer going to tour. And, after that, I've been going through a lot, and it's just hard to tolerate lies.
Yeah, exactly.
When that happened, I thought, I'm going to have to come up with a new one. Nickelback.
Nah.
No.
No.
We'll find one.
Nickelback.
Yeah. I can't do five-figure death punch. Someone might actually hit me. So we'll come up with one.
Wow. Oh.
Huh?
Did you see? Oh, I keep going to say Danny Joe Brown. That was the lead singer of Molly Hatchet.
Billy Joe.
Billy, yeah.
Billy Joe. What's his name?
Yeah, they all use three names as if they're all serial killers.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Billy Joe.
Yeah.
Billy Joe Dupree. No, that's not. He was a football player, wasn't he? the
Billy
dude
Joe
from
Armstrong.
the exact. Thank you.
Yeah.
You see at a concert he held a severed head of Trump.
Yeah, I saw that.
It's like glad we forgot to talk. It's like,
Right.
oh wow, he's back.
Yeah, right.
So now what does he promote? Well, open borders.
Yeah, and the oldies.
And
I love the oldies.
He's on the oldies summer tour.
Yeah.
866-90 Red Eye.
Lines open for your calls. 866-90-RED-EYE on Red Eye Radio.
It's Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Carly, and I'm Gary McNamara. Just checking out the Tokyo Stock Exchange up 9.41%. You've got Dow Futures plus 400, S&P up 77, and NASDAQ Futures up 347, 1.93%. So still not matching the losses from the last couple of days, but we'll see what happens tomorrow. Or today.
Top of the hour news is brought to you by House Products. Visit houseproducts.com.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One. Now, it's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
All across America and around the planet, we are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Good morning. How are you? I need another cup of coffee.
Yeah. Hey, where did we put the bear?
Oh, my God. Did you see the picture of Kennedy with the hand in the dead bear's mouth as if the bear was biting him?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. They were all loaded. People do not do. Robert Kennedy Jr. saying he was completely and totally sober. His friends were intoxicated. Sorry. That stuff, that's, something when I thought about it, that stuff that Beavis and Butthead does.
Yeah.
Either you're a teenager, either you're a Beavis and Butthead teenager, or you're a drunk adult. Sober adults do not do that. My God. Oh, my God.
Yeah. That's acid trip stuff. Hey, let's take it to Central Park. I bet they were trying to make it ride the bike first. I know I'm right on this. They positioned the bear on the bike. There's probably more pictures of a dead bear trying to ride a bike. You can't tell me I'm wrong on that. You can't convince me. Don't say, well, that would be weird. No.
When you say an acid trip, I go back to this story, and I've told it before. This goes back 40 years ago? Yeah, 40. What year is it now? 2024.
I don't know, man.
Okay. It goes back 39 years ago. Working in radio, I had it was the apartment that I lived in that had the cockroaches in the refrigerator and the fire ants coming through the floor.
Mm-hmm.
The people that owned it, their son lived there, and all he did was party constantly. So one time, this middle of the night, there's a banging at my window. I open it up, and he says, "Hey, man, I've got this great idea." And I'm like, "Oh, you're pretty wasted, aren't you?" He goes, "I'm tripping, man, but I got this great idea. You know what I'm going to do? This is going to be great." He said, "I'm going to pretend to kidnap myself. And then I'm going to put a ransom out there and collect the ransom, but nobody will know that I'm collecting my own ransom." That has stayed with me my entire life.
No, I'd have to keep that going. Okay, how much? How much ransom do you think?
And I was trying to convince him, no. You don't want to do something stupid like that. Don't call the cops in this state.
I would have gone the other direction. I would have said, yeah, you should do that. And ask for $1 million. You're worth it.
I had some I don't know why, because part of me probably was thinking that at the time. Should I encourage him, or should I tell him no, don't do it? He ended up not doing it, but you're, I mean, it's the bear thing is so bizarre. It's not just drunk.
You're tripping hard.
That's LSD stuff.
You're tripping hard.
Let's get the bear, and then we'll put a bike next to the bear, and then everybody will think that the bike hit the bear. Well, why would you do that?
Because, man.
Why would you?
And then they just stop there.
Well,
because.
Because are you saying that somebody's going to believe that the bike hit the bear? Somebody was riding the bike, hit the bear, and killed the bear cub, and the person on the bike just disappeared?
There are pictures, I can almost guarantee it, of a dead bear mounted on a bike, probably with a hat and sunglasses. He didn't just, we'll just take it to Central Park and fake its death. You didn't have to do that. You didn't cause the death. There's a way around that. They went way too far for this to be only what he said it was. I know this for two reasons. Number one, I had a dad. And number two, I am a dad. That story doesn't fly at all. That story wouldn't fly with my father, and none of my kids would ever be able to get away with that story with me.
No.
So, yeah, there's a lot more to it. It was all but a dead bear circus that night. That ended in Central Park.
And this ABC, Robert F. Kenney. They have Robert F. Kenney.
They misspelled his name?
They misspelled his name.
I've seen more typos lately.
ABCnews.go.com. Robert F. Kenney.
Wow. All right.
Now, this is something that Kenny Kramer might do. Robert F. Kennedy is not facing charges over leaving a dead bear cub in New York City's Central Park a decade ago. The New York State Department of Environmental Conservation said the statute of limitations expired after Kennedy said in a video released Sunday that he was responsible for putting a dead bear cub in Central Park a decade ago. The DEC said it had determined back in 2014 that the bear had died from blunt force trauma consistent with a car collision. Authorities closed the investigation in 2014 after it couldn't find enough evidence to decide if any violation had occurred. On Sunday, somebody said, what's the weirdest thing? That Kennedy did this or he decided to come out to Roseanne Barr?
That's what I said yesterday. That's where you're going to do the mea culpa?
Yeah. On Sunday, the independent presidential candidate shared a video on X where he claimed in a conversation with Roseanne Barr he had placed a dead young bear in Central Park 10 years ago. In the video, which the campaign said was posted to get ahead of a New Yorker article, the candidate said he was driving in upstate New York when a woman in a van in front of him hit and killed the bear. Kennedy told Barr he pulled over and put the bear in the back of his vehicle, planning to skin it and put meat in his refrigerator. I don't buy that story.
No.
However, after a day of hawking, followed by a dinner that ran long back in New York City, Kennedy told, with the bear in the back of your car. Yeah. Kennedy told Barr that he did not have time to put the bear in his house before catching a flight out of New York. Kennedy said he chose, with encouragement from others, to place the dead bear in the New York City park next to a bicycle he happened to have in his car to make it appear as if a cyclist struck the bear. Kennedy said bicycling accidents with pedestrians were big news at the time. The dead bear made news when the woman discovered it the next day, though Kennedy was never tied to the incident. Kennedy said at the end of the video that he told the story to get ahead of an upcoming New Yorker profile on him, which he believes will include the details of the incident. He must have got the call from them going, would you comment on the bear bicycle thing that you were involved in?
Yeah, right.
Looking forward to see how you spin this one, New Yorker. He wrote on X to accompany the video. You don't have to spin that one.
Yeah, I don't know anybody that could spin it.
The Kennedy campaign is not worried about any legal ramifications stemming from Kennedy's bear incident, a campaign official said. The official said the video was shot as an outtake when Kennedy recorded a conversation with Barr. The campaign saw it as a funny story that they decided to post hogwash, that they decided to post Sunday when they became aware that the New Yorker was planning to include the incident in an upcoming article.
That's not funny. It's not funny at all.
No,
it's not funny in the least. It's weird.
Right. It's weird, yeah. We now have the definition of weird.
Yeah.
We were looking for that last week.
Yeah.
We now have the definition of weird.
This is it right here. This is weird.
The campaign saw it as a funny story. No, they did.
No.
It was so
No.
bizarre and
No.
weird that and a story that, by the way, nobody believes what he's saying.
Nobody believes it.
Nobody.
Other things happened.
When you
Multiple other things happened that day.
when you see the picture of him, because the picture has got the bear, it looks like the bear's biting his hand, but it's the dead bear cub.
Mm-hmm.
Puts it in there. I'm like, oh, not sober.
No. No, that wasn't a sober moment.
No.
Wow. I don't even know how you get there. I really don't know how you get there without being inebriated. I really don't know how you get there. That's just weird. And somebody was asking me, somebody sent me a message saying, I'm waiting to hear, because I mentioned in the story, RFK Jr. says you can get a tag for roadkill, or you have to have a tag, but you can take it home. It's legal to take home roadkill. And I thought, well, how does the tag thing work? Because I don't know. And then I looked it up. The officer that you call can write you the tag on the spot to take it.
Yeah,
So if they give you permission to take it, they do that right there. Because I thought, well, how's that going to work? You're going to get a tag ahead of time, hoping you come across some roadkill somewhere, or just in case you do.
That's the point. When that happens, you call the authorities. We all would do that.
It's
and
never not the case that you call the authorities first.
And understand, remember, he's 70 years old now. He's claiming this is what he did sober at 60 years of age.
Yeah. And here's the thing, too. You see a cub, especially one that has just been killed. You see a baby, what's nearby? And it's
Mama bear.
It is 100%.
Yeah.
Unless Mama was just killed as well, she's close. There's a lot more to that story. Seriously.
I know.
Yeah.
It's just so bizarre.
It is so weird.
I was reading it yesterday. I was like, what?
Yeah. Yeah, just so weird.
Well, I mean, he was losing votes anyway, and we knew this. He would lose votes as a third-party candidate. Remember, he was up 17-18. I saw one the other day at two.
Yeah.
I think one of the reasons that he's lost so much is not the Bear story, because he was losing it beforehand, but Democrats that were going to vote for him are now switching to Harris.
Actually, I was going to say that yesterday. I thought,
I said it
some
yesterday.
of what she's gaining is a lot from him.
Yeah.
A number of those points that she's gaining, they don't come from Trump. They come from him.
I love the whole thing, the Republicans for Harris. You're not a Republican.
Yeah. Give me a break.
I mean, it's like
Ray LaHood.
Oh, I know. I saw the Ray
LaHood's
LaHood
on it.
Ray LaHood, who, as a Republican during the Obama administration, said it's our job to coerce people out of their vehicles.
Right.
Yeah, that's a Republican.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. No, that's not.
They can't be honest about anything, can they? Seriously.
Nope.
People can't be honest about anything anymore. You're not a Republican.
No.
Not close to being a Republican.
Not even close.
If you support Harris.
Yeah,
You
not
can't
even
make
close.
that. You can't make that. If you make the case, I'm not going to vote, you might be able to make that case.
Mhm.
I'm just not going to vote.
Right.
Or who's a libertarian candidate? Oh, no, guess I won't vote.
Exactly. Wow. Yeah.
We will be covering the Dead Bear story.
Oh, there's more to this.
Any updates that come? Did the New Yorker have their article? Is that where did the article come out yet?
I don't know if they put it out yet. I'm not sure.
Who put out the picture with the bear cub biting?
Yeah, I don't know where that originally came from. That's a
I
good
think-
question. I did see it
I think I saw that in the New York
from multiple
Post.
sources. Yeah, I think I first saw it in the New York Post. No, I think we need to get Keith Morrison over at Dateline on this. This is a story. And then they decided to dump the bear in Central Park. I want to see this Dateline NBC. Please make it happen. Somebody keep doing the investigation.
RFK Jr.'s despicable Dead Bear story has officially turned him into Sideshow Bob. That's the New York Post.
Right, yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
Brainworms and goats and bears. Oh, my. It's just
Yeah.
another day in the wild, wild Robert F. Kennedy presidential campaign,
Yeah.
which has done absolutely nothing to further his political ambitions,
Yeah.
but has provided a revealing look into Sideshow Bob's dynastic eccentricity and entitlement
Yeah.
with the menagerie of critters as the supporting cast. Kennedy's bid as an independent has included a worm that ate his brain, a barbecued animal carcass, and a video of him doing shirtless push-ups in jeans. And then there was the press dinner last July at which the environmental lawyer was meant to acquaint himself with reporters. Instead, the host stole the show when, as Page Six reported, he let rip a loud, prolonged, passing gas while yelling, "I'm..."
Yeah.
With the F word in there. This is just, what a zoo that's been.
Yeah. Crazy.
Definition of weird.
Yeah, definitely.
866-90 Red Eye.
Brought to you by FPPF, Fuel Power Max.
Managing time is key. Successful owner-operators know that simply running hard is not enough. If it were that easy, anyone could do the job and expect the profits to roll in. It generally pays to slow down. There is a trade-off in higher costs, not to mention the increased risk for driving fast. If driving slower takes time away from you, you could find some of the ways to get it back. Never take time off during the last 2 weeks of the quarter or the last week of the month, when freight typically is abundant. Sometimes it works to your advantage to look for loads that take you through home rather than to home. The latter can interrupt your revenue stream and require additional time to get back up to full speed again. Owner-Operator Business 101 is provided by Overdrive's Partners in Business program. Go to overdriveonline.com to the Partners in Business section of the website for more details on this and many other topics. Brought to you by Shell Rotella, with advanced synthetic technology is designed to help keep your rig running with more mileage and less maintenance.
Get in touch with Red Eye Radio, toll free at 866-90 Red Eye.
It's Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Carly, and I'm Gary McNamara. Interesting that when I went to sleep, I take a nap before I come in for the show. It was Josh Shapiro. When I get in here, I see all these Governor Walz from Minnesota, posts there. He's going to be the one. I'm like, okay, I guess we'll see. I will say this, and we'll get into this. It was interesting because it was Breitbart who wrote an article. I think it was Joel Pollack. Who said, wow, Josh Shapiro shares Breitbart's view on Israel. Oh, back in 1994 and
Yeah.
all the way through. Now
Right.
he's reversed completely
Yeah.
and talking about a two-state solution, which is, again, the pro-terrorist, the pro-terrorist narrative, that should be a two-state solution. Nobody wants a two-state solution.
The would-be two states aren't asking for a two-state solution.
Right. And so, as we have stated, that's why I said the last week or so, I said, I wouldn't be surprised is Shapiro, but he'll reverse everything. He will reverse what he believes on Israel and Netanyahu from what his lifelong beliefs are. And he said, well, I was 20 when I had those views in college.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
It's like, yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to reverse all my views and now become pro-terrorist.
Right.
Wow. And that made me think of something that we'll talk about next.
You're listening to Red Eye Radio from the Uniden America Studios.
And he's Eric Carly, and I'm Gary McNamara. Well, we know that if it's Governor Walz of Minnesota, I mean, you're talking about somebody who's as far left radical as you can get. Remember how long the riots went on in Minneapolis without him doing anything.
Yeah.
So he is as radical left as you can possibly get. Josh Shapiro, if she picks him, and he was the leader until I went to bed last night on social media, at least.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea what's going on in the campaign.
Mm-hmm.
I did like the tweet that I saw, or the post on X that said, heavy security presence around Pritzker's house. Oh, wait a minute. He's just being arrested. It's like, oh, my God. That was just... I saw the... It's like, oh.
It's funny because it just might be true.
But talking about Josh Shapiro, and I had said this last week. I said it again yesterday. Yeah, this is day 2 of this week. Then I said, no, I bet you she picks him, and then he reverses all of his stances that he's had before on Israel. And so reading here, Joe Pollack from Breitbart, say what you will about Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro, his lifelong position on Israel, which he has now been disavowing, largely agrees with the Breitbart News editorial view. and goes on to talk about other things outside of it that he disagrees with, that he said, but his views on Israel, as espoused in a 1994 op-ed and reiterated since, are exactly correct. Americans should be skeptical of a two-state solution until the Palestinians demonstrate a commitment to peace rather than to terror. A recent video posted by the pro-Israel group Stand With Us demonstrates the depth of the problem. In a man on the street interviews, Israelis still express a desire for peace despite the war, while Palestinians want to destroy Israel. Shapiro wrote in 1994 that Palestinians were too battle-minded to be able to establish a peaceful homeland of their own. Those Shapiro's views became less strident over the years. He still backed Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and his contention that there had to be peace in the region before a Palestinian state could be established. Now, of course, Shapiro is changing his tune. He says he supports a two-state solution. Even after the horrors of October 7th, he is rushing to disavow his former views to salvage his chance to be Kamala Harris's running mate. If elected, there is no doubt he would support her anti-Israel approach, bowing to the party's radical left base. But until now, Shapiro's position on Israel has largely agreed with ours.
Mm-hmm.
That is simply a fact. Well, yeah, but it shows that, again, as we have stated, you know what Republicans believe. But Democrats completely will reverse 180 degrees what they believe. I mean, everything that they've done with Kamala Harris, the campaign. Oh, no, now she's for fracking. Does any Democrat really believe that Kamala Harris is for fracking? Right. You know it's a lie. We know it's a lie. you know it's a lie.
Both sides know it's a lie.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I find that fascinating. And what if the history books will look at this time and say, wow, everything that they did when they implemented it, they would say it wasn't happening. Everything was a lie. Everything was gaslighting. Republicans at least say this is what we believe over here.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there may be debate within the Republican Party, and there may be changes that are made, but you don't see much 180 degrees flipping
Right.
on issues like you see in Democrats, which I find, I think politically just absolutely fascinating, because you can come to the conclusion that the only thing that Democrats care about is power, no matter how they get it.
Yep. Doesn't matter. The truth. Why would they start caring about the truth now? Even their own positions. They don't call it flip-flopping. They don't call it lying. They call it campaigning.
Yeah, and everybody knows it. I mean, CNN, we played the audio the other day of asking the campaign person, she's flipped on everything. Aren't you worried? No, because what happens is, she's become a mature adult, and when you become an adult, you look at things differently. And so in the matter of a week, she's changed all of her positions because she thought about it finally, which means over the last, I don't even know how old she is, over the last few decades, she's never thought.
Yeah, exactly.
She's never thought about these things until she decided, and until she found out, they're going to make me president. All the things that I believe that I've been promoting for the last 2 decades in politics, I don't believe any of those anymore.
Right.
Does anybody really believe that? If you believe that, you believe Kennedy's bear story.
Yeah. Exactly. It's what you do.
But when you come to it, when you think about the situation, the two-state solution for a politician to be promoting that in the United States right now is so incredibly stupid. Forget about being pro-terrorist. It's just nobody wants the two-state solution. The people, because they're directing that. Mm-hmm. The two-state solution is supposed to be the olive branch to Hamas.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not to Israel. They're trying to appease Hamas. Oh, if we do this, if we talk about the two-state solution, Hamas will agree. Hamas doesn't want the two-state solution. Palestinians, vast majority, do not want the two-state solution. Why the hell is Josh Shapiro bringing it up?
Right.
Why is any Democrat bringing it up?
Right.
Nobody wants it.
Nobody's asking for it.
And the enemy doesn't want it. All the polls show the enemy doesn't want it. So why is Josh Shapiro bringing it up? Why are they pretending? And this, what I find fascinating, this is another one where the Dems are pretending that their opinion means something when you actually just a cursory look at it shows it doesn't mean a damn thing. It doesn't mean anything.
Right. Nope.
And then the other thing is that I find interesting, because this is unique to Democrats, I believe. That, for example, on the radical transgender movement, you're a feminist now if you're anti-woman. Mm. If you're anti-woman, you're a feminist. Feminism now is a man being able to beat the crap out of a woman.
Yep.
That's feminism today in sports.
Yep.
And now a Democrat Jew is anti-Semitic. I mean, it's just, you look at it and you're just like, they believe it gives them credibility. We found a Jewish person who is pro-terrorist. Therefore, if a Jewish person is pro-terrorist, the pro-terrorist point of view must have some legitimacy. No, it doesn't. Well, how can you explain it? I can't. It doesn't make any sense. It's the same thing like the feminists who claim, no, a man dictating and defining what a woman is a good thing. Democrats not being able even to define what a woman is, that's a good thing. Why? Because we're feminists and we care about women, and since we care about women, men should dictate what womanhood is.
Yeah.
It's bizarre. But when I started thinking of Shapiro, I go, wait a minute, this is starting to grow now in the Democratic Party. You first said you had the women. Yeah, we're feminist, which means what? Men stay out. Now feminism means men define womanhood for us.
In fact, men take over.
Men take over, right. Men take over, men take women opportunities. That's feminism. So the next step would be, it's just like identity politics. Identity politics, we judge people by groups, not individuals. One group is evil. Oh, okay, let's add anti-Semitism. That's all they did. It wasn't a huge leap for a lot of Democrats to throw the pro-terrorist anti-Semitism in there. All they had to do is go, oh, we've been doing identity politics for the last 40 years. Let's just expand it and to Jews. By the way, can we find any collaborators out there? Any collaborators? Can we find? Oh, there it is. Okay, we finally found it. You're going to legitimize a pro-terrorist view, Josh Shapiro. You're pro-terrorist. You're an anti-Semite, but you're Jewish. Ah, okay, that'll confuse everybody. Come on in. Oh, yeah, I'm willing to do it. Why is Josh Shapiro willing to do it? Power.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And look, it's, this whole anti-racism for the left
Is racism.
is racism.
Yeah.
It's full on.
Everything is reversed. Yeah, that's the thing. Racism. On racism, everything is posterior backwards.
Right.
I'm glad you brought up the whole racism thing, because anti-racism, the anti-racist movement is racism.
Well,
The anti-fascist movement with Antifa is fascist.
yes.
Everything is the opposite of what it's.
The threat of violence and everything.
The Costanza Party.
Yes. Remember, it's not a lie if Kamala can make you believe it.
It's-
Don't vote for the Republicans. They're racist. You need to vote for Democrats who believe that everyone needs to be aligned based on their skin color.
When I saw Seinfeld say, that whole line about, to George, well, if this hasn't worked, then the opposite would. He goes, that's the dumbest thing I've ever said. Because you do the opposite doesn't mean it's necessarily going to work.
Right.
Because I take the opposite opinion is no guarantee. He goes, but we decided to throw it in there and people bought the narrative. But but you look at it across the board, racism, everything is posterior backwards.
Well, the Democratic Party really is the Seinfeld Party. It's the party about nothing. And it's not a lie if you believe it.
And they can be as easily manipulated to socialism and communism as Kramer was.
Exactly. Yeah.
Remember, don't be Kramer, be Mickey.
Right. You commie.
You take that commie crap to the streets. Never forget that line.
It's right now, it's so easy to see. It's just about how much you care. Everybody knows it. Everybody sees it. Everybody knows what it is. Now it's about your values, where your values are. If you believe that that's the right way to go, that that's okay to do, that everything on the left and in their agenda is okay, including coming after your children, broken borders, pro-terrorism, inflation. Say goodbye to your 401k. All of these things are right now on the table in the reality of today. And you see it, you experience it, you're paying for it. Now, how are you going to vote? There's no way around that. Look, the policies of what we started the show off about, where we got here and how we got here and what's, you and I have talked about the whole thing with free money and this and low interest rates over the years and what this for me, and I think I've talked about this before, it really is part of the pathology of dependency. You know, everybody thought we were going to have zero interest forever. That was going to be the thing. And super low interest, but, you know, that was the goal. Let's zero interest, and that's going to just drive the economy. Massive spending. And now, you know, $34 trillion and counting in national debt. There's no problem. It's not a problem. There's no way around the fact that things have to change drastically. The question is, how many believe it?
866-90-RED-EYE.
We'll be right back with more Red Eye Radio with Eric Harley and Gary McNamara.
It's Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Cronin. I'm Gary McNamara. Tell you about the Republican report out there saying that the Biden-Harris Department of Homeland Security freed at least 99 terrorist watch list migrants into the United States.
Yeah.
That they're actually in custody and then they let them go.
Yeah, right.
It wasn't that they just got in and were caught.
Right.
That they let them in. We'll get to that. Plus the article that we were talking about Josh Shapiro, another article written, it's become more acceptable among Democrats to hate Israel and be pro-terrorist, be pro-Hamas.
Mm-hmm.
Look, I'll never forget the day after. Whether it was, I think it was probably October 8th or 9th, whenever we were back, when you just said, there's no middle ground here.
Right.
There's no middle ground.
There is no middle ground. Nope. You're either with the terrorists or you're not.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One. Now, it's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
All across the USA, we are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Good morning. Welcome. Thanks for being here. Now, Harris will pick her VP today as she is officially in. So here we go. She still has not spoken to the media. It's really fascinating, isn't it? Because you're talking almost 2.5 weeks now.
Yeah, why start now?
I do think that part of it is plausible deniability. The campaign can speak for her. The campaign can lie for her. And if she's ever asked a direct question, she can simply say, I didn't say that. Well, your campaign did. Well, the campaign isn't me. And I really think with the stuff they've got away with that she'll try to do that. She'll speak whatever she wishes, whatever opinion she wishes to give to the audience that's there.
Yeah, right.
And the reason I say that, Alan gave me an article earlier. Very quickly here. Far-left climate activists say Kamala Harris is one of them. Well, she just came out pro-fracking.
Yeah.
Now, of course, we all know she's lying. Every Democrat knows. Does any Democrat believe that Kamala Harris, we'll keep asking that question, does any Democrat believe that Kamala Harris is pro-fracking?
Anyone?
Day after President Joe Biden quit the presidential race, some of the most high-profile names in the U.S. climate movement gathered for an online fundraiser in support of Vice President Harris's campaign, where they highlighted Harris's past far-left positions. The event, which organizers said raised more than $100,000 for the Harris campaign, signals that powerful climate activists that pull in millions of dollars in donations every year are ready to throw their full weight and support behind the sitting vice president. Speakers endorse Harris, thanks in large part to his support for the $1 trillion Green New Deal and green energy subsidies and her opposition to fossil fuel fracking.
Mm-hmm.
The fundraiser was held even as the Harris campaign sought to walk back many of the policies highlighted by speakers and run closer to the center on energy issues. The campaign, for example, said Harris no longer supports banning fracking or certain provisions of the Green New Deal. The vice president is giving a high-profile speech next week. The second in Pennsylvania, the second largest natural gas producing state in the country. There you go. So everyone knows, every Democrat listening right now knows Kamala Harris is lying. The campaign is lying that she's against fracking.
Well, and that's another thing. That's another thing that points to Shapiro. Pennsylvania, massive energy state. So
Right.
you got to get on board at least until November 5th. You got to lie to the
Now,
people.
Democrats in Pennsylvania specifically, do you believe that Kamala Harris? Because if you do, you're a fool. Do you believe that Kamala Harris is pro-fracking? Does anybody in Pennsylvania believe that Kamala Harris is pro-fracking?
Or are you one of those that is okay with the lies as long as it gets you to a win?
Well, when you see, for example, and I forgot it was Howard Kurtz or the other one. I can't think of the other guy who's the pollster out there.
Nate Silver?
No, the other one, the one that does the focus groups. Frank Luntz. I thought it was Frank. Maybe it was Frank Luntz. That the Democrats don't care. Republicans keep bringing up it's an undemocratic process. The primary Democrats don't care. They don't care.
Yeah,
they don't care if democracy's been followed. They don't care if the people of the Democratic Party get their vote. They want to be controlled by the elite.
Mm-hmm.
They wish for someone else to make the decision for them. That's a problem. And that's a problem because when you have a sedate population, let's go back to the Ramones tune. Sedate the masses and they'll go along with anything. Because that would not happen in the Republican Party. If the Republicans tried that, there'd be a civil war inside the party. There was nothing for Democrats. Nothing. Nobody spoke up. No, except maybe Fetterman did, but then he got quiet again.
Yeah.
Fetterman didn't want, Fetterman was keeping the lie going about Biden. And then he's just gone quiet. He hasn't come out screaming and saying, where is the democracy inside? There isn't one Democrat screaming, we claim to be the party of democracy, and we have completely shut out the Democratic voter in the primary. Nobody has said that because Democrats and Democrat voters don't care. They don't care if they're not represented. All they want to be told is what to do. And that's a perfect example because that would not happen in the Republican Party if they tried to do that. There'd be a war.
The only thing they had a problem with Biden was his cognitive issues. It wasn't the agenda. The left didn't have a problem with his agenda. His cognitive issues got in the way of promoting the agenda. So they brought up Kamala Harris. I said it the other day, but she's somebody who a few weeks ago wasn't invited to the dance, and now she's the prom queen.
Mm-hmm.
Well, all you have to do is create something that's not there. The left is very good at trying to make people, or at least persistent and consistent, trying to make people believe something that isn't real. That's not a man, it's a woman. And she was always the best candidate. Of course. And many on the left know this. There's another thing, too, that I was thinking about. again yesterday. They were mocking her. Even some in the liberal media were mocking her and never, ever promoted her as having any possibility. Ever, ever, ever. Until they realized, oh, yeah, I guess we can't bypass her and go around her, because that would be wrong. They were mocking the way she talked. They were very aware of her word salads over and over again. The stories coming out now of people that have worked for her saying it's unreal and claiming she's not a nice person. Well, it's the fact of the matter is that my question would be, what's in your mind if you go to work for her? What drew you to go to work for her? What were you buying into? And these are the things that, honestly, now make up the left almost exclusively. Nobody on the left is promoting issues. And when there is any kind of response on the issues, on the border, she's not the border czar, and she's stronger than Donald Trump on the border. Seriously. That's how bear end up dead in a park. You just got to float these bizarre ideas until one other person goes, yeah, that's a good idea. Go with it. This is the left. This is how liberal minds think. This is how weird they are. How delusional they are. Oh, and J.D. Vance is the weird one. Over and over again, they demonstrated every day. You and I go through it, and it's seriously, folks, it is nonstop. When you said, gosh, this is only the second day of the week, and I have been there all night going, is this only the beginning of Tuesday? And it's because it never ends. It's one big, bizarre, weird day. Don't get us wrong. We love this job. In fact, it's part of what makes this job great is that there is nothing boring about it anymore. But the fact of the matter is that it becomes especially dangerous, and it is absolutely worth fighting for until the end.
Well, I mean, when you spend a lot of time on social media just to find out because most of the people on, for example, on Twitter that I follow, most are inside Washington people.
Yeah.
And when you see how they're promoting something or getting excited, that the election is done today, the election is over today, the election is done today for my candidate, my candidate's going to win. No, it's completely and totally over.
Right.
There isn't a lot of gray area in there, and it's interesting to watch it. And if you look at that, if that's all you look at, that can drive you mad. It really can. If you go on X and you spend a lot of time on there and you don't look at anything else or go do your own research, you may go crazy.
Yeah.
You may just go crazy.
Yeah,
and
seriously.
so that's to start the day, that's what I do. And you go through it all. You're like, okay, let me find out what the truth actually is, because everybody's got a spin on it. And it's either the end of the world, or if you elect my candidate, you will have heaven. You will have Camelot.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
exactly.
both are wrong. No matter who gets into office, there's going to be major problems.
Yeah.
And whoever gets into office is going to be restrained. Even the Trump administration will be restrained because of the debt that we have.
Yep.
And they're going to be restrained on a lot of economic populism things they may want to do because of the reality of inflation.
Right.
And the insanity that the left wants are not going to be able to get done because they're insane on the issues. I mean, they're just absolutely there's no other word for it. Now, I was looking at the thing of Waltz in Minnesota, the executive order for, transgender care for minors.
Mm-hmm.
They had some parents there with a 6-year-old.
Yeah.
It was so so incredibly perverted and evil that you can't imagine it. And that's what they're about. You think about it, they're the ones that are for that. There's two things, the radical transgender movement and minors that they wish to lie about. You know, you want to ban books. No, you want to teach sexually explicit material to 5-year-olds and 6-year-olds. And you want 5-year-olds and 6-year-olds to be able to make the decision to cut off their body parts. You evil bunch of perverts. That's where they stand. And the other one is their identity politics, their racism, judging people by groups and not individuals, which has led into their anti-Semitism and their pro-terrorist, their pro-Hamas viewpoints. It really is some of the most disgusting things that I've ever seen in American modern politics today. And still Republicans and the Trump campaign is not fighting it hard enough.
You know, it's you go through over and over again this battle to give children the ability to mutilate their own body, with the threat ultimately of, we'll come after your kids. We'll deem you, if you're a parent and you disagree with your child, that's abuse. And J.D. Vance is the weird one.
Yeah.
That goes beyond weird. That's evil.
It's evil. It's reprehensible. And this is where they stand as a party now. And you look at it, I mean, everything, all I could think of yesterday, and I knew what the Biden administration was trying to do. Kamala Harris coming out of the meeting. Oh, yes, I was there with all the big wigs, and we were discussing what. You mean what your administration helped to create?
Yeah.
By ensuring that Iran, the Houthis, as we know, you saw that they went after them, and then we know that in Iraq, the attack on America, it all ties back to Iran. I mean, it's pure insanity that this administration had the ability not to fund Iran. They're funding Iran, and now they're in this big meeting. These bunch of complete idiots and racists are sitting there in this meeting discussing how do we sort of fight back against Iran as we're helping to fund them at the same damn time. Tell me if I'm wrong on anything that I just said there.
Defund the police at home and fund the terrorists worldwide.
I mean, it's maddening. It's absolutely maddening. When you actually put it together. And I say the racist because of their anti-Semitism and and as we all know, Whoopi had to find out, remember? That's not racism. Remember that one?
Yeah, right.
It's all part of their racism. It's all part of their identity politics. They simply added Jews to the mix. That's what the Democratic Party did. And understand that the radical transgender movement, which is pure insanity and evil when it comes to what they want to do to children, is mainstream. 100% of the members of Congress in the Democratic Party agree with the radical transgender movement.
Yep.
As the vote showed in April of 23.
Yep.
100% agree with it. And in identity politics, they're all for identity politics. Some may not be for how far they've extended it out to Jews, but it's becoming more mainstream in the Democratic Party. In fact, I just saw there was an article. There it is. Republican Jewish Coalition CEO Matt Brooks told Breitbart News last month that it's become more acceptable among Democrats to be anti-Israel. Brooks spoke to Breitbart News right after delivering a speech at the Republican National Convention. Let me hear you cheer if you support Israel, Brooks urged of a crowd of delegates, drawing loud cheers. Now, if someone tried that at the Democrats' convention, they'd be booed off the stage. But here at the Republican convention, we proudly and loudly stand with Israel. Brooks reflected on the growing intolerance towards Israel among Democrats, which burst into the open in 2012 when there was a loud voice vote on the floor of the Democratic National Convention in Charlotte, North Carolina, against pro-Israel planks being reinserted into the party's platform. We all remember that.
Mm-hmm.
That has been the canary in the coal mine. Brooks said it's only gotten worse. And more importantly, it's gotten more acceptable as we see it is right now. I mean, it's reprehensible what's going on in the Democratic Party right now. 866-90 Red Eye.
Coming up, more with Gary McNamara and Eric Harley. It's Red Eye Radio.
It's Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Now, I'm just a cursory viewer of this, so it might not. This might not be accurate if as to the total impact. But for example, the last 2 days with Trump, Trump talking about the rally the other day. Well, I'm not supposed to be for electric vehicles, but I am because Elon Musk supports me, but just a little. Stop it.
Yeah, you don't need to go there.
And then yesterday, apparently, he was on some podcaster. Don't even know who the guy is.
Yeah, I saw the clip.
And he's in the Tesla vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
It's not what Trump needs to be doing right now.
No.
Doesn't need to be promoting electric vehicles in any manner or form.
You're not convincing anybody. And sorry, Elon Musk either is going to give you the money or not. It's not going to be based on anything else unless there's something I don't know.
Yeah.
Please tell me there's no quid pro quo. I don't want to find that out. But, you're seeing that, too. I saw, some more stuff on EVs yesterday, and I thought, that's not going to change hearts and minds.
Nope.
Observing and analyzing the insanity. Eric Harley and Gary McNamara. Nightly on Red Eye Radio.
And he's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Good morning. Download our Red Eye Radio app today, and you can listen when and where you choose if you can't listen live overnight, which is the preferred way.
It is.
Because then you're just like we are. You're suffering because you're up overnight.
That's true.
If we have to suffer, so do you.
That's right.
All right, so here we are. So now the election is set. we're in August. Now we know who's going to be running against each other. One of the things we brought up yesterday is with the polling numbers and Harris, you see the momentum. If you look at the vast majority of the polls have moved in her direction. How many points? Who knows what it ends up being? We really won't know till the end of probably middle of September, through the rest of the election. But one thing we do know is that the public hasn't been moved on the issues. The public still looks at Kamala Harris and says, she's Biden. We went through all the numbers yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Latest CBS poll. What Biden believes, she believes. That's like 82% believe, for the most part, she's Biden.
Yep.
So they know. So the public knows. And when it comes to these specific issues on the economy and the border, Trump has huge leads that he would do a much better job, both for your financial well-being and at the border. You saw Jim Cramer yesterday. You and I were talking about this.
Mm-hmm.
Say, wow, if you're voting for your pocketbook, you've got to vote for Trump.
Yeah, your paycheck. Yeah.
Your paycheck. Yeah. Your paycheck. It's like, whoa.
Yeah, David Faber looks at him like,
Yeah.
What did you just say? Oh, my gosh.
And he goes with tax cuts. And then Faber said, my taxes went up.
Yeah.
And both you and I looked at each other because we know that some of the things that he took as business expenses, we used to take.
Yeah.
And
right.
so when he said his taxes went up, and then he said, well, I'm in a blue state too. But I think he was referring to the Trump tax cuts.
Right.
Our taxes went up under the Trump tax cut.
Right. Yes.
So, because the problem was Eric and Gary weren't paying enough in taxes. That was the problem.
It's the source, if you think about it, of all the problems at that point was Eric and Gary.
Yes.
It was us.
We still agree with the majority of what the tax cuts did, except we did disagree with, and the reason that we disagreed with the tax increase that we got is that it wasn't a growth based tax.
I also disagree with it because
You had to pay it.
I like money.
No, but you
And it
understand.
made me
but
pay
you understand my
more
point.
money.
And anything that keeps you, if you're involved in a practice, in a business practice that's going to bring you more revenue, and therefore bring the government more revenue, that's what you're looking for.
Mhm.
You're looking for both to benefit. That would be a growth-based tax. The taxes, the business taxes that they put on, actually hurt business, didn't help it. It made it so people there wasn't an incentive to make more money in certain areas because you were already being penalized before you even started to get to that process.
Right.
So we disagreed with it that way based on what we disagree and agree with on tax policy more.
Mm-hmm.
You've got there was when Trump came up the other day, it was amazing. Yesterday would have been the perfect day to bring it up again and talk about the fact of no taxes on Social Security. I don't know what it is about Republicans. We've never been able to understand it. Democrats can get together and pound the same thing 1 million times a day for years. Republicans come out, he came out, Trump the other day, and I thought it was a great idea. Why? I'll be collecting next year. No taxes on Social Security.
Exactly. Well, and also, if you think about when he floated the idea, no taxes on tips for servers and anybody who works on tips, that one had greater legs than the no taxes on Medicare so far, on Social Security.
Yeah, you're right. It did. It had more impact. Yeah.
They carried that one for a few weeks, and this one didn't go anywhere at all yet. I mean, maybe they pick it back up. Maybe it's in an ad somewhere, but it hasn't taken off like the other one took off immediately and caught fire.
And you can make the cases we make, but you're gonna pit one group against another because one group's going to say, well, wait a minute, because you get tips, I make the same money and I get taxed. You would have that argument,
right?
Which we said, but still that took off a lot better. You don't have that same argument for Social Security. It's something you put in your entire life. We didn't start taxing Social Security to this level till like 1983. So it's just like, well, wait a minute. You're talking about money that people put in their entire lives. The only thing is, Trump didn't promote this. I want to make this clear. Trump didn't say this, but I'm like any Democrat, get a hold of it and go, well, yeah, I agree with Trump on no taxes on Social Security, which means that we could cut it 10%.
Exactly.
Because but that to me would have a huge selling point. And if you're talking about politics, one of the toughest things for Republicans is moving older Democrats over.
Yeah.
And older independents, they're tougher to move over to vote for Trump, as we know, looking at the polls.
Mm-hmm.
But through all of this, is the point I'm trying to make is everybody knows where she stands on the issues. This is going to be a problem down the line. That's why we said, look, we don't think Trump had a great week last week. I think it was one of his worst weeks of campaigning that he's had in a while. But the fact is, you can recover from it very, very easily because now she's it. She's it. And eventually, just like when Biden didn't first answer questions, it wasn't a big deal. But after a while, it became a big deal.
Right.
But the fact is, people already know where she stands. All you have to do is define her. She's already been defined for the American public. I wasn't sure until I started seeing the polls in the last 2 weeks. And the polls show she is well defined in the American public's eyes. She's basically Biden. So all you have to do is repeat what people sense or believe anyway.
Mm-hmm.
The majority of the voting public, that's what you have to do. The other thing is understand that most people don't get their news from TV or even newspapers anymore. I was looking at this. I was telling you about it. I don't know how we got on it, and all of a sudden I went, oh, Eric, I forgot to tell you. I saw this. I think it was over the weekend this came out. I know Wall Street Journal did an article on it, but it's the median age of who watches the news channels.
Mm-hmm. Cable news. Yeah.
Cable news. They're talking about the fact of, this was basically an advertising, how do you sell TV right now?
Right.
And they started looking, for example, among cable channels, the median age for TNT and Bravo viewers is 56. Well, somebody watches Bravo. But 56 years of age. That means half of the people watching are under 56. Half of the people watching are over 56. HGTV, 66. MTV, 51. Whoa. Cable news. You ready for this? MSNBC's median age, 70. That means half the people watching MSNBC
Are older than 70.
are older than 70. Fox News, 69. CNN, 67. Among other broadcasters, CBS's median age is 64, ABC's is 66. Now, I don't know if that's for the news or just in general. So it's sort of unfair to look at that and say, oh, okay, their age is lower. I don't know if it is for the nightly news. It may be for some of their horrible programming that young people love to watch horrible programming for some reason. Mm-hmm. I just showed my old man, didn't I?
His kids
watch crap. What's this crap that's on TV? Get it off.
That's not music.
Let me see what's on Me TV. Now I understand why Me TV, the average age of the median age for Me TV must be 90.
Well, that'll be me in front of a television. This isn't music. And then one of my kids will have to point out, Dad, you're watching Fox News. It's none of it's music.
Same with MTV.
See, I'm right. I dare say Fox News has more music than MTV these days.
You might be right on that.
Coming in and out of commercials.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But MSNBC's median age is 70. So you don't have young liberals who are not watching MSNBC. And so they're not reading newspapers.
Right.
And they're not going, young people are not going, I'm going to go through the paywall for the New York Times.
Yeah.
Where do they get it from? The internet.
Yep.
And that's why the media doesn't have as much control as they used to have. You may not be happy with where the polls have gone. You may say the polls are completely inaccurate when 2 weeks ago you were saying those polls are totally 100% accurate. But the one thing the polls do show, the public has defined Kamala Harris. They know who she is. She isn't hidden. They believe she's just like Biden.
And you either care or you don't.
Right. And on the major issues, which is the economy, inflation, and the border, landslide numbers going Trump's way. That the people of this country agree with Trump on it. That's where we are right now. You ask me why? I don't know. Shiny new object? I don't know. Olympics has taken people's attention off whatever, vacation, school coming up, all that. But, yeah, I just saw that article about half of people worried about how they're going to pay. A third of people say they can't
afford back to school.
Back to school supplies. 50%, half the population is going to have a lot of trouble just for, back to school supplies.
Yeah.
Those are the things that as you get closer to an election have more of an impact. The shiny objects. Look at this over here. Now I'm calling her a shiny object. Okay, even a dull pencil.
Yeah, right.
But it's like, look over here. This is something new. But I don't expect it. I don't expect it to last. I'd be very surprised if it lasted because I did see, I think it was Luntz said yesterday, Well, just because the stock market goes down doesn't affect how people vote. History shows. Well, maybe not the stock market, but the stock market in a recession and caused by inflation, which is still around, certainly does.
It depends on why the stock market goes down.
Yes.
And so if the underlying problem ultimately is more long-term, then, yeah, they do. They do care. And it's, too, the entire scenario of what's going to happen next. What do people believe Kamala Harris is going to do? They already know what Donald Trump can and likely will again do.
And they believe they were better off during Trump.
Yep.
The vast majority do.
Right. So how many actually believe that she's going to do something better? It's gotten to the ridiculous point of her campaign wanting you to believe she's stronger on the border than he is.
Right. And she's pro-fracking.
Yeah.
As we've said, and there's not one Democrat listening to our voices right now that believes that.
There's no way.
You know that.
You know it's not true. We know you're not stupid. They think you are, or they think you're okay with the lies.
Yeah. We believe you're okay with the lies.
Yep. If you're going to vote for her, you know it's a lie. That means you're okay with it.
Right.
And that's where we are. They're trying to bring back the toxicity of Trump. But ultimately, people will ask themselves, what am I okay with? A really horrible economy? Because of my disdain for Trump?
Yeah, I did see yesterday just hundreds upon hundreds. And it was really on LinkedIn. The trolls got on LinkedIn, and it was, that we don't need the drama from Trump. No drama, no drama. You're not telling me there hasn't been drama over inflation in people's lives?
Yeah, right.
Like, oh, my God. 866-90-RED-EYE.
Lines open for your calls. 866-90-RED-EYE on Red Eye Radio.
It's Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Good morning. Well, it's official. Kamala is the choice of the elite of the Democratic Party, not of the Democratic voter, but of the elite and the party apparatus.
Yeah.
The Democrat Politburo has
spoken. That's right. It doesn't matter what you say. You're not important.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One. Now, it's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
All across the USA, he's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. You ready for this?
All right.
Let's politicize coffee.
Oh, great.
Are you getting ready for your first drink of coffee? Well, maybe you'll want to try First Gentleman's Blend. Kamala Harris's husband and current second gentleman, Doug, promoted a new, I'm not making this up. I swear to you, I am not making this up.
Mm-hmm.
Is promoting a new aspirational coffee blend titled First Gentleman's Blend. The title of First Lady or Gentleman is reserved for the spouse of the president.
Mm-hmm.
In a post Monday, Doug Emhoff wrote, being an aspirational coffee blend was not on my 2024 bingo card.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, this is weird. All right, let's just continue.
Yeah.
A description of the signature dark blend roast states, it takes a strong man to stand by a strong woman. We're proud to introduce First Gentleman's Blend, crafted by Coffee by Design to celebrate the second gentleman, the husband to Kamala Harris, Doug Emhoff. In addition to being a supportive spouse, an active campaigner, Doug is an outstanding activist in his own right, supporting gender equity. See, because the coffee you drink must let everyone know that you're for abusing minors.
Mm-hmm.
We're the abusing minors coffee.
Yeah.
Equity, equal access to justice, and combating anti-Semitism. So now you drink coffee to combat anti-Semitism by being an anti-Semite.
Then why is Kamala's husband drinking it?
I'm not making this up here. Enjoy this bold, strong, dark roast made in his honor. It tastes like hope. I could hear Alan laughing through the window over there.
Yeah, you know what else tastes like hope? Jose Cuervo.
Oh, my God.
For about 2 or 3 hours. It tastes just like hope.
The coffee company also launched Girl Blend, also known as White Dudes for Harris.
Yeah.
A coffee blend that won an internal employee contest to create a coffee blend. Is there going to be a liberal coffee table book on coffee tables?
And the book itself becomes a little table. Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. Here's the problem with launching that now is that he's not the first gentleman.
Yes, exactly. Right.
Maybe you want to hold off on that. Mm-hmm. It tastes like hope.
Now, what did conservatives have to say about this?
I wonder.
In response to Emhoff's blend that touted him being a supportive spouse, many on social media noted the recent revelation that he cheated on his first wife with the nanny who cared for his children, resulting in the nanny getting pregnant. What was on the bingo card of the nanny you knocked up? CEO and co-founder Federalist Sean Davis wrote.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
Does it include condoms as a secret prize to make sure the nanny doesn't get pregnant? That came from author and former Department of Defense Intel operative Tony Schaefer.
Exactly.
So, God, it's
Yeah.
just so dumb.
Ouch. It's just stupid. Tastes like hope.
At least they just sold the Trump wine.
Right. Well, here's the thing.
Making wine great again, maybe you could throw that in. That would.
Yeah, right. Exactly. You don't, number one, coffee, are we looking for a new kind of coffee? Is somebody going, man, if only I had a coffee that would show me how to vote? If only. I mean, who's the person who thinks, or the group of people that were in the meeting, oh, this is going to take off. This is going to be huge. I could have seen it maybe in 2008 with Obama. You have two different blends, the Hope blend and the Change blend. You have your Hope and your Change. The Change would be decaf, of course, because nobody likes change and nobody likes decaf. But seriously, they're trying to create euphoria. No.
Tastes like hope.
They would have been better off actually doing a wine.
Well, if it's a dark roast, then probably it's like the Starbucks, which is very bitter.
That's right. Yeah.
So maybe, like Kamala,
It's bitter?
it's bitter.
Could be.
But I just like it. It promotes equity.
It's overhyped and bitter. That's, I mean, yeah.
Coffee promotes equity. Oh, okay. So the best part of waking up
Well, here's the thing.
is promoting.
Enjoy this bold, strong, dark roast made in his honor. You guys didn't even know his name 3 weeks ago. You know, we've been, you brought up the thought, and I think it would be a great test to do. Go ask people on the street, what is Kamala Harris's job right now at the moment? What role is she in right now? And see how many people can accurately identify that. Then ask them about her husband. Just ask them who Doug Emhoff is.
Said Coffee by Design owner Mary Allen Lindemann, according to WMTW, quote, "We're ready to welcome Kamala Harris as the next president of the United States. She will continue to fight for the freedom of women to make decisions about our own bodies, except in sports, and in the bathroom. She will fight for the freedom to vote. She will fight for the freedom to drink clean water and breathe clean air," said Coffee by Design owner Mary Allen Lindemann.
Wow. All right.
So bad. So there you go.
Yeah, I guess you just got to go full on, right? You got to just invest everything in. You just go all in.
Doesn't growing coffee contribute to climate change?
Well, I know it requires a lot of water.
Yeah.
So there's that. And look, are Democrats not in line with Bernie Sanders? We have way too many choices in coffee.
Here it is right here. Here's how your cup of coffee contributes to climate change. Regardless of the type of coffee preparation, coffee production is the most GHG emitting phase.
Mm-hmm.
It contributes around 40% to 80% of the total carbon emissions. Yep. They're talking about it affects. So, Coffee by Design is destroying the planet, according to the Democrat narrative.
And supporting, clearly, someone who now supports fracking according to her own campaign.
Yes.
Wow. I guess Greta was right. It's all going to end soon. We're doomed. How dare you?
Did you see yesterday Greta Van Susteren?
The other Greta.
Yeah, the other Greta. That's when you said Greta, it popped into my mind.
Yeah.
That she should pick for vice president. I know he's old, but age doesn't seem to matter. Former General Wesley Clark.
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
God, it's just like, geez,
Yeah.
that was just
Nobody's
bad.
mentioned his name in years.
Years, I know. Just like,
Right. And he's not on the list. Why are you even floating the idea of something that's not going to happen?
it's like in order to give her credibility on military issues.
Right. Yeah. I don't think she cares about that.
No, I don't think the Democrats care about
Nope.
it.
No, they don't.
Democrats don't care.
No, they don't.
Think about this. Have you heard one Democrat sit there and say that Biden was wrong to take away the Trump sanctions on Iran?
No.
Have you heard one Democrat say that? Any
No.
Democrat saying that it's crazy that we're allowing after Trump, because Iran is the world's leading exporter of terrorism against the United States, that we should do whatever we can to ensure that they don't get billions in funding through their oil money?
No.
Democrats are totally in favor of us not only funding wars, but funding both sides of wars.
Permanent funding.
Yeah. Tell me where I'm wrong. Any Democrat, please tell me. Well, it's not fungible. The money just goes to the charities of the...
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Shut up.
Yeah. And Hamas is doing the bookkeeping. This is a very clear scenario, and again, it's about what you care about. It's about what your values are, and you can say, well, that applies to every election. Right now, reality is so at our doorstep every single day. You're either denying reality or you're okay with how bad things are.
Yeah.
And you want more of it. More inflation. Wide open border. They brought up the
More terrorism.
More terrorism. They brought up the
More inflation.
yesterday on social media. It was a Jake Tapper interview with Kamala Harris. Her talking about not recent, but talking about health care for illegals. Your taxpayer money going to that. So not only is the border going to be open, hey, let's spend a ton of money on people who aren't here legally.
Has she backed off on that position yet? I
Haven't seen it.
I didn't see if she did yesterday.
Haven't seen
or
it.
if her campaign did.
And if she tried to, or her campaign did, we know it's a lie. That all of a sudden, a few months before the election, she's going to do that. She's going to just change about face. That's bogus. It's a lie. Everybody knows it. Again, it's where your moral values are. Are you okay with the lies? If you are, then you vote for her.
Yeah, they are.
Yep.
866-90 Red Eye.
Brought to you by Hot Shot Secret.
Hi, I'm Jen Loomis, a transport safety expert at JJ Keller, and I'm here to share a tip on compliance, safety, accountability. Compliance, Safety, Accountability, or CSA, is the FMCSA Safety, Compliance, and Enforcement Program. Its goal is to hold motor carriers and drivers accountable for highway safety and to reduce crashes, injuries, and fatalities on our roads. CSA does this by assessing the safety performance of motor carriers and drivers based on data collected during roadside inspections, crash reports, and FMCSA investigations. Based on the data that is compiled, motor carriers are assigned a score. The carrier is then grouped with other carriers who have had a similar number of safety events. Carrier scores within the group are then ranked to determine intervention priority. Low scores are better, so carriers with the highest scores are those that are most likely to be targeted for intervention by the FMCSA. Interventions range in severity and may include warning letters, roadside, off-site, or on-site inspections, civil penalties, or operation out-of-service orders. This tip was brought to you by J.J. Keller and Associates. Visit us at jjkeller.com.
Get in touch with Red Eye Radio, toll free at 866-90 Red Eye.
It's Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Carlin. I'm Gary McNamara. The Tokyo Stock Exchange, as we saw, had its best day since October of 2008. Rebounded about, what was it, 10 point something percent? 10.2?
Yeah, it was 10.2%.
Right. After being down 12.4 the day before. Here in the U.S., the futures up, not greatly, but the Dow up 150. S&P futures plus 32, that's 0.62%. The NASDAQ 151.78%. That's where we stand right now. So, who knows what the day's going to bring, though, because the futures sometimes can be an indication, like they were yesterday, of what's going to happen when they were down, like 600-700 points, and then stock market opened up and very quickly was below 1,000. So who knows what'll happen. I don't know if you're going to see that type of rebound that you saw in Japan here in the United States, because the Japan situation different from what's going on in the United States, as we know.
Right. And percentage-wise, the Nikkei lost a much bigger chunk.
Than,
either the Dow
than the Dow
NASDAQ.
did. Yes,
So.
Great point to bring up. Yes.
And we'll see. It really is, it gets back to the data that points to recession and what the market believes on that. I think yesterday, seeing such a huge chunk in terms of the drop-off in stocks like Apple, part of that was the Berkshire Hathaway exit on and unloading more than half of what they had in Apple. And that's a huge sign. Everybody watches Berkshire in moments like this. And last week, and for a number of days, in fact, unloading Bank of America, then Apple and other stocks. And they're looking at prime indicators that show something. So when they act and then they put a lot of cash basically go to the sidelines with a lot of cash on hand, then people pay attention. And which goes back to the data that we learned on Friday with jobs and also everything else, that when you put that data in line with everything else, what it points to. And if the market believes that we are in recession territory. Yesterday, you brought it up earlier, but people were calling for, this would be a 0.5 percentage point cut, emergency cut by the Fed. Don't see that happening as a result of a bad day on Wall Street. But the fundamentals, if they hold, they could get them to do something in September. I don't know if anything happens from the Fed before September.
You're listening to Red Eye Radio from the Uniden America Studios.
And he is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome. Thank you for being here. Download our Red Eye Radio app today, and you can listen when and where you choose if you can't listen live overnight. Well, Kamala Harris officially secures a Democratic nomination without getting one Democrat voter's vote.
Yeah.
Not one.
Look, she saved you the trouble.
Well, I mean, that I like I said, I noticed that yesterday on social media where that was being brought up more than anything. They said Republicans keep bringing that up. I just brought it up now. I mean, we haven't harped on it as some others have. I have this morning just to make the point that it was said yesterday, but Democrats don't care if there's democracy in their own party.
No, there's no outrage over this on the left.
The Democratic voter doesn't care.
No.
They don't care.
Nope.
In fact, they're okay with somebody else running the show. Just take care of us. Even in the primary process, just take care of us. We wish we could have had more but, it's no big deal. It's Harris and we're okay. And we understand identity politics and understand that she is the only one, because if she wasn't the only one, then we'd be called racist, and we can't be called racist.
Yeah.
And like I said, that's where we believe Donald Trump blew it last week. He should have never got involved in the identity politics debate on their terms and debated on their terms, and he did for a few days afterwards. And it was frustrating to see that. The correct answer should have been, no, none of those people did I say anything about those people because of the color of the skin. You brought it up. You're the one obsessed with color of the skin and race. We don't think about race. We're Republicans. We wish to help everybody who needs help. You're the ones in the Democratic Party that have institutionalized racism through your identity politics over the past 20 years. It's what Tim Ryan ran against Nancy Pelosi on, identity politics. Identity politics has been brought up by Bill Maher, that you got to stop judging people by the group that they're in, the physical characteristic group, and judging them by the content of their character and the substance of their argument.
Yep.
That's it. And it is we know identity politics is a part of that party. The only thing that I would warn Republicans, and so many Republicans who, again, I understand the loyalty towards Trump. They don't want to hear any negative words because they know this election could be close. But you're not helping the Republican cause or the conservative cause ever by arguing the same way that they argue. I don't care what her identity is. I care where she stands on the issues. That's all I care about. I don't care what the color of her skin is. I don't care about her gender. That was the correct way, and then throw it back in their face. You're the people that are obsessed with physical characteristics. You're the ones that are back 100 years. You're back to where racism and Jim Crow existed, where you judge everything by it. Throw it right back in their face. But don't, for God's sakes, argue the same way. Well, when did she come out and say that, well, wait a minute, she said she was black at one time and said that she was, that she wasn't really black, that she was, Jamaican. And then, but at other times she said, just stop it.
We said
Don't play
weeks
that game.
ago that long before the debate between Biden and Trump, the issues were what was changing everything in Trump's favor. The issues carry the weight. Ultimately, that's what means everything.
I had somebody write me and say, no, I believe it was the right one. That was the right move by Trump, because they always use identity politics to promote what they believe, and they ought to be called when they use different identities. I went, no, because they know that. We know they know. They know they do that. That's what identity politics is. That's what critical race theory is. They know that. What they don't expect coming back from Republicans is Republicans turning them and saying, everything you believe is racist, and right there what you said is racism. You're accusing me of differing from somebody. You don't know how I think, and I'll tell you how I think. I'm not a racist like you. I don't judge people by their skin color. I don't believe in critical race theory. We don't believe in as Republicans, we don't believe in that. We judge people by the content of their character, and in the case of debating you, the substance of your argument or the substance of her argument. I don't care if she's black. I don't care if she's white. I don't care if she's mixed. I don't care. All I care is where she stands on the issues, and where she stands on the issues is negative to Americans. That's where you win big time, because where do they debate it with you? Then they've got to debate identity politics.
They can't debate the issues. They can't.
They have to debate that identity politics and critical race theory isn't racist. Go ahead. Try to. You've lost that already.
Yep, the issues carry all the weight. And the only question, again, gets back to whether or not you care about the issues, whether you want whatever issue is your lead issue, the border, inflation, national security.
Yep.
Does that mean anything to you? Yep. If you want more of the same, you know how to vote.
Yep. I don't disagree with Kamala Harris because she's black, because she's a woman, because whatever identity you wish to put upon her. As we know, the debates that you've had, remember, what was it? Was it the was April Ryan and was it Juan Williams? No. It was what's his name from CNN. Oh, I can't think. Mr. Black Hole.
Don Lemon.
Don Lemon and April Ryan going back and forth. Well, he's black, but is he African American? Well, Jamaican is going back and forth. I'm not going to talk about the pigment of the skin. I mean, it was just bizarre. That's how they talk. We don't talk that way. We don't judge that way. I judge her by one thing. She's clueless on the issues. She doesn't know what the hell she's talking about on anything. But you don't wish to discuss the issues. I would have thrown it right back into her face, a reporter from, I believe it was ABC. Throw right back in her face. You don't care to talk about it. You're obsessed with race. Your network is obsessed with race. We're not. We're way beyond that. Your party is back to Jim Crow. That's where you are. Be blunt. Throw racism right back in their face. Don't play the same game. But for some reason, Trump can't help it.
Yep, don't engage. Stay on the issues. It's all it's what drives everything in your favor.
Yeah. Easy win.
Yep.
Easy.
All day.
And by the way, a big win. And that's why over the last couple of weeks, we've been focusing on the identity politics, saying, where are the Republicans? Why aren't they coming out screaming about this, about the racism of the Democratic Party? Because they still use it against you, and nobody in the Republican Party says, wait a minute, we can fight them easily and throw it right back in their face and convince independents that they're the racist. Based on the things that they say, not what we accuse them of saying, but what they actually say and what they actually do and how they actually practice identity politics and actually how they know they practice identity politics. And especially the Republican Party knowing that they're winning the war against critical race theory. They're winning the war against DEI. We know that. There's such a great opportunity. And I just don't want to throw it on Trump because it's the rest of the Republican Party has been horrible at arguing this. This should be one of the number one talking points. It should be inflation, economy, border, foreign policy, race. Bring it up. Now, I know race isn't at the top of the issues, but when they use it, you throw it right back at them. It's a huge issue because you can make the solid argument that where institutionalized and systemic racism exists is squarely in the Democratic Party, and it's mainstream inside the Democratic Party. That's something that Republicans have not been able to do in my lifetime. And they have a perfect opportunity to do it and win the argument slam dunk. That's why I'm frustrated. That's why I got frustrated with Trump the other day. That's why I'm frustrated with the Republican Party, because it's something that they've been using as a sledgehammer against the Republicans, and they're the racists.
And
the
this
Democrats
has been
are.
my concern when I've been saying that we're at a crossroads. That crossroads is we either change it now or I'm convinced we'll never change it. We either fight now or we just don't and won't ever have the will to fight. If you can't do it now, if you can't get this done now,
when can you?
if Donald Trump and the Republicans lose to Kamala Harris, I'm convinced there's very little chance you'll ever win in a big way in my lifetime again. You certainly won't win in getting things done if you do win elections. And that's the difference. The Republicans are going to have a hard job if they win. The Democrats are just going to keep doing what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
But Trump and the Republican Party have to come in and play cleanup in order to turn things around and convince the American people that what they're doing is right for the economy, for national security, for the massive amounts of radical items that are on the liberal transgender movement agenda. All these things have to change in a big way now, or we won't change them. If we don't have the will to do it right now in this kind of storm, then you won't.
And the American public is already on your side. That's the point. You don't have to convince them.
Nope.
All you have to do
You
is
don't have
say,
to change any hearts or minds.
here's where we stand. We stand exactly where you stand.
Right.
That's all I've got to do.
Yep.
And articulate it.
Yep.
And on race, you have the ability to do it, and you don't. And why, for the life of me, I have no idea why.
Right.
And you allow them to do it to you, and then Trump last week fell right into the trap. I'll argue on their talking points.
You're wasting time that should be spent on the issues.
Right. And you can turn that around as an issue against them.
Yep.
Because you make the solid point, you're the racist based on your identity politics. You're the ones that judge people by groups. And I'd throw in, and this all started the modern identity politics movement against blacks, conservative blacks.
That still continues today.
It continues today, that if they think in a conservative way that somehow they're not, and then you bring up the quotes of what has happened to a Mia Love or a Tim Scott. So this racism has to end, and you Democrats need to stop it, and you need to, and go right after her, you need to start parroting what the Democratic Party and the media is saying, because you are enabling their racism.
Yep.
Look, we've said to the Democrats, you want some advice? Lie bigger.
Yeah.
Here's the advice to Republicans. Scream the truth louder.
You have to.
And explain very simply where everyone understands, because people know what racism is. They know it's identity politics. They know you shouldn't be judging people by groups, that people should be judged as individuals. They know it. You've got that argument. Use it.
Yep.
Otherwise, you deserve to lose. Sorry, but you deserve to lose. If you're not going to try, if it's a half-hearted effort, if you're saying, well, let's wing it today.
If you can't win it this year, then you don't want to win it.
Yeah, you don't. 866-90-RED-EYE.
We'll be right back with more Red Eye Radio with Eric Harley and Gary McNamara.
It's Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. You know, the thing is, Eric, in the real world, the Republicans and what they believe is actually winning. You know, we talk about DEI. See these companies that are dropping DEI left and right now. Why? They understand the problems. They understand the possible racist problems with DEI and how they'll clash with labor law, with equality laws in the workplace.
Yep.
And so they're backing off on it. On the radical transgender movement, as we talked about the other day, they're winning on it. All these things in the real world, they're winning, but the Democratic Party still stands, as we have said before, on the radical transgender movement and identity politics, 100% behind it, as the real world is moving in the opposite direction. All you've got to do is point out their racism, point out their pervertedness in the radical transgender movement, wanting kids 5, 6, 7 years old to have sexualized content, for young people to decide to cut off their genitals. These people are perverted, they're racist, and you can make the legitimate case based on the things that they have said and done.
Your message on the campaign trail should be as strong as any concentrated message in any of your ads. There's no reason that it can't be.
Wow, that is that's a great point.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One.